Warning! This show contains foul language and even fouler people and is not suited for anyone, anywhere, anytime. You have been warned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Such Good Shoot, where our panel discusses anything and everything in the world of wrestling. In the North Corner, we have from the state that claims Bernie Sanders, representing the old school, weighing in tonight at 4, Marco Stunts, Isaac! And in the Souther Corner, from the state, with one too many O's, showcasing the modern era of wrestling, weighing in tonight at 1 1/4 Jungle Boys, Shane! And representing the land of lovers and the birthplace of Missy Elliott and Rob Lowe, I'm your host, Dozer. Let's get it on! Okay.
Missy Elliott and Rob Lowe. Wow.
You gotta hit the big names.
You know, the two most famous people. Two most famous people from Virginia, I think, right?
Yeah, probably. We probably have a president or something out there. I don't know.
I doubt it. When did any presidents ever visit Virginia? Come on.
So, I think first we have to start with, which is becoming way too much of a trend lately. We have to give our heartfelt condolences and deepest sympathies to the friends and family of Hana Kimura. I think I said that right, Shane. It's not the world of wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch a whole lot of Stardom, admittedly, so I'm not necessarily the person to ask about pronunciation of Stardom names, but yeah, I mean, I think that's right, and yeah, I mean, just horrible again.
22. It's just awful. Yeah. So just like if you're online and like, just don't be a dick. You know, like you could be fun, you can have fun, but let's just like not be dicks online so much. You know, I don't know.
To quote the immortal Xander Cage, "Don't be a dick."
So yeah, rest in peace.
Bring to that. So, coming around to our round table, which is triangular, not circle, go figure. We think tonight we should talk about commentary teams and announcers, because during our main event tonight, we'll be discussing AEW's Double or Nothing pay-per-view, which had some great commentators doing some lackluster commentary.
To say the least.
So we're just going to start out. We'll do super softball here. Who's everybody's favorite play-by-play commentator? Isaac, you want to get us rolling on this one?
Sure, yeah. This is a tough one for me because like I love JR. I think JR is amazing. But I think when it comes down to it, like I am a huge fan of Vince McMahon on play-by-play. I don't know. There's something about him, how excited he gets. Like even when he was like getting later on and he was just getting corny. Like I don't know. I watched with Shane recently the halftime Heat empty arena match, and he calls that all by himself. And there's not a single point that you feel that there is something missing on that broadcast team. And I think that's the last time he actually got on commentary and really legitimately did commentary. And it was amazing. Like you just. Like I think a lot of people overlook him because he is so well known as Vince McMahon, the character. But his commentary work was some of the best that you can find, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, even with that match though, he's the only heel play-by-play commentator I think I've ever listened to, because he was doing play-by-play in that, but as Vince, the character. I mean, and it was still really good and really entertaining. I mean, I think it's, I mean, I can't really say universal because I know a lot of people have a lot of different opinions, obviously. But I think it's kind of one of those more universal things that nobody likes heel play-by-play commentators in wrestling. Like, it just doesn't work. Like, that's what you have to call it for generally. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the point.
the play-by-play commentator, especially now as we're entering the world of the fucking three-man booth, which I'm not a fan of. If we're doing the three-man booth, the play-by-play commentator should have no allegiances.
Yeah, he should just be a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And just call the matches. Almost like Mario Ranello does.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
He
Morrow
gets a lot of color.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Morrow has a really good team surrounding him, but Morrow also sometimes gets into a little bit that's wrong, like, you know.
Yep.
But it's definitely not on a like a Gorilla Monsoon, you know what I mean, sort of face deal.
Totally.
Well,
Shane, who's your favorite?
I mean, just just because I'm not going to use the NXT commentary team as one of the later questions we're going to get into, I got to go Morrow. I mean, I legitimately think Morrow is the best commentator in any sport period alive today. Go watch his work with Bellator. You know what I mean? Go watch him commentating, boxing matches or cage fights.
Yeah.
And he's really good with those. And I feel like his just like, I don't want to say over exuberant because that makes it sound like a bad thing, but just his energy is always so high, and you can you see him standing up at the commentary booth when things happen. He's jumping around, and you can, you really feel excitement through what he's saying. He could sell you.
How many other color or play-by-play commentators will they put a hard cam on for the whole match just to release a video of his reactions?
Whole show.
Who else though? Can you name anybody? Nobody.
No. Yeah, especially not play-by-play. No, I mean, Morrow. Like I said, I mean, I legitimately think he's the best play-by-play commentator in sports. Period today. Just versatility, and like if you've seen him in Bellator, or whatever boxing matches he's done, like, what you're getting into with his NXT and WWE work. But like, the thing with him is that he's able to just go wild because he's watching this entertainment show. You know what I mean? So he can turn it up to 14 at all times. Like, I just think he's the best. Yeah, I mean,
his knowledge is incredible too. Like his ability to just call the match and with that level of excitement for that 2 to 3 hour period is just.
Yeah, I mean, he never sounds bored. He never sounds like he's trying to figure out a way to make something work. He opens his mouth and he elevates whatever is going on literally at all times.
Yep.
Definitely. I'm going cheesy here. It's for me, it's good old JR. I came in the Attitude Era. He is the voice of wrestling to me.
I cannot argue that. He was my other pick for that because he's just such a classic voice. And God, in his prime, was there anybody who could just get something over better than him? I mean, I think I shared that clip the other night of some of the old Attitude when they announced Stone Cold's return as Rock's ring corner enforcer or whatever, and the crowd was as live as I've ever seen, and that was one of the biggest pops I've ever seen. But JR, through that whole 10-minute clip, was just on fire, and some of the best play-by-play I've seen and commentary I've seen from him ever. And I mean, go back and look at some of the best moments in WWF history or WWE history and tell me how many of them have his voice yelling "My God" over it.
I mean, I also feel like, I mean, one of the kind of one of the watermarks and trademarks of a really good commentator is think about how etched into professional wrestling history JR is. Think about how many times you're watching a match and you go, oh, it's pandemonium, or oh, as God is my witness, he is broken in half, or or any of those any of those legendary calls. I mean, go ahead.
Every classic call he is.
Yeah.
And Like anytime I hear a classic call, it's good old JR.
Yeah. Oh no, he's the voice of wrestling for a reason. And yeah, it's just amazing because like you think about him as, you know, as a Hall of Famer for his commentary work and all these things. And like most of the time when you discuss JR, you're not even talking about the actual job he did of recruiting talent and building that roster, right, during the Attitude Era. And so like if you count that, if you bring that into account too, it's just like, God, how is this guy not like considered one of the best, if not the best mind the business has ever had?
Definitely.
Or at least like the impact that he individually has had on the business is maybe only comparable to someone like Vince McMahon at this point.
Yeah, I can definitely get behind that. He's done so much.
Yeah,
He's been everywhere. He's done everything, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and then, you know, just to belabor this tiny little bit, whether or not I like the work he's doing in AEW right now is something else. But I mean, you know, I mean, granted, he's getting paid handsomely for doing so.
Yeah.
But again, you know, the fact that he kind of took a leap and went and is now the voice, for better or for worse, of this, you know, of this new company, you know, like when I, you know, like when AEW started, right? And they did the whole like big party thing where it was just the elite, but then they were announcing a bunch of different things, and you know SCU came out, and then the big deal at the end was Jericho, and then you know it's like, oh, this is cool, this is like an actual roster, like these are some guys I really want to see. And then like a couple weeks later, you know, people are like, who's going to commentate, and then you know I think Cody was like, oh yeah, it's going to be JR. And at that point I was like, oh, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay, like this could really be something that's serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He just brings so much credibility.
Yeah, his voice gives the credibility to the whole thing. You listen to it and go, yeah, that's wrestling. That's the voice.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's something about hearing JR's, even if it's not at his best work, there's something about hearing his voice over a wrestling match that feels right. You know what I mean?
Genuine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Much more so. Yeah, but and much more so than the King than Jerry Lawler does these days. You know, because like those two together were incredible. But I feel like JR has been able to adapt a little bit more to the time than Jerry Lawler has. Like Jerry Lawler's.
Well, Jerry Lawler's whole gimmick was just screaming about titties, dude. I mean, let's be honest here.
We call them puppies, right?
No, I mean, we all know what it means, and he meant titties. So.
Here,
well,
kitty.
On that note, let's discuss our favorite color commentator, Shane.
Oh man, of all time. I mean, I'm gonna take the low hanging fruit and make it easy on myself. Bobby the Brain. I mean, like,
God, he was.
I don't even feel the need to comment. You know, to even like, yeah. I mean, I don't even feel the need to comment on that. Like, I don't know why I felt the need before, but like, if you're listening to this and somehow you're watching a professional wrestling podcast and you haven't listened to any of Bobby the Brain's work, whether it be with Shivani or Monsoon, you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? Just stop watching us right now and then go find clips. That's literally all.
Go listen to him because he is the benchmark. He's the gold standard.
Yeah. I mean, it
absolutely.
He's the Rodney Dangerfield of pro wrestling.
I feel like if I'm gonna sell you on going and watching Bobby the Brain Heenan, is that any moment ever he made fun. You know what I mean? Like there was never a moment in time where you weren't either laughing at him or wanting to punch him in the face, whether it be managing or a commentary or whatever he was doing. just
Oh, he's one of the
the
greats.
the brain was the best. I mean,
I think one of the things about him, and I think like the brain is a really apt nickname for him, is that it didn't matter what happened, it didn't matter what somebody said. He had something on deck that was razor sharp or funny, or it just like would cut you to the core every single time. Like there was never a point where you would catch him speechless. There was never a point you could catch Bobby the Brain slipping, because he was always on point and he always had like the right thing to say every time. And that was in the time before they had, like 70 million people on production and gorilla position telling you what to say every second and
Which is
feeding
probably
you
yeah,
why he
stuff.
was good.
yeah.
Well,
I
I mean
mean,
that's part of
just
it, but to be able to just like he really like that's the kind of stuff that like you see in like the best stand-up comedians in the world when they get heckled, and like their ability to just stop what they're doing and like immediately confront this, and like and he does that consistently.
yeah. I mean, and I really feel like just his range of being able to be funny, whether it be really smart and like you're like, oh, this makes sense. Like he's not really a heel here; he's just smart. Or to the point where like a very Jerry the King Lawler deal, where he's just spouting off, or Jericho, and Jericho's on commentary in AEW, where he's just spouting off random shit that just doesn't make any sense, but just effortlessly funny. And that's why, I mean, Cole wasn't color, but that's why like the coal mine shit just didn't work, because he wasn't funny at all. He was just annoying, just annoying.
Yeah. Oh, totally. That was, I mean, that's the reason we're not even gonna. I'm a spoiler alert. We're not gonna even do a worst category here, because it's too easy. So, and I
Mike
think Michael Cole,
Adamway.
yeah, that and the coal mine stuff. It's easy. It's simple. But yeah, no, I think you're fucking right on. I don't know if anyone can top that, but I'm gonna choose something different anyway, and I'm gonna go with somebody who I think is just incredible, because he managed to do what he did. And I mean, you could really pick him for any of these, because he was the one man team, is Joey Styles. I think his work, especially in ECW, for the fact that it was just him, for the fact that he had to get some of these guys over who were just fucking trash. I mean, fuck Sabu, like he was crazy, but goddamn it, was he garbage.
Sandman.
Like yeah, I mean a lot of that, and he was, and like Paul Heyman, to his credit, knew how to protect guys, and Joey Styles could get him over, and like to do the play-by-play, to do the color, and he didn't go so far into heel. I don't, as I recall in ECW. I think they sort of pushed him into that role a little bit more in WWE when they had him
Yeah,
there.
yeah, because he was just angry that ECW wasn't around anymore. That was his whole heel gimmick, was just like,
Yeah,
I'm angry because ECW's not here anymore.
but he even pulled that off. I mean, like I remember that promo or whatever. I mean, that shit was gold, man. It was really good. That was the pipe bomb. That was the OG pipe bomb. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like he has an incredibly memorable call. Uh, like he's definitely called some really good matches, and there was never a point where his work detracted from anything, ever.
I feel like Joey, um, it, I feel like he is literally like the punk rock like commentator. You know what I mean? Because when you think ECW, you think Joey Styles. Like when I think ECW, the first person I think of other than Paul Heyman is Joey Styles, and then I get into like Rob Van Dam and Sabu. You know what I
Taz,
mean?
early
Taz, yeah,
Taz, yeah.
yeah.
No,
I mean,
absolutely.
but he was the voice for like this counterculture, no bullshit, fuck you, sort of outlaw mud wrestling deal. You know what
No,
I
I
mean?
remember watching early Raw, and they used to have commercials for like the ECW shows and the ECW tapes, and you're just like, what is this? And it's like, it was so different and it was so brutal that you couldn't help but fucking want to see it. And like, it was next to impossible to get at that point if you were a fucking like a little kid, because unless you steal your parents' credit cards, and my hippie ass parents didn't have credit cards. So I was like, I barely ever got to see that stuff as a kid. And so like being able to go back and watch it, especially now with the network, is like, it's such a joy because like, you know, like in all the shitty matches they had there, there's some stuff that's just incredible, you know, because they have just such a good roster. And then someone like Joey Styles to like really put these guys over. And yeah, it was a special time in wrestling, even if it was not like the best wrestling or the best promotion you've ever seen. It was unique.
Yeah,
And he was a huge part of that.
Much like Matt Stryker and Vampiro are the voices of Lucha Underground, Joey Styles was the voice of this very small, just rabid fan base of maniacs.
Yeah.
All right, Dozer, I'm interested.
I just find it interesting, first off, that looking back on it, Philadelphia is like the place that births all the third-tier wrestling promotions. ECW, Ring of Honor. You want the third tier of wrestling? Apparently, Philadelphia is where that's at.
Yeah, the AAA of
Yeah.
Yeah.
But color commentator, it's a bit wishy-washy for me. I don't necessarily have a favorite color because I love Bobby, but I haven't watched a lot of his shit. So and my favorite color is technically my favorite heel commentator. So I'm just going to kick off into the next one with it since they're one and the same. And that for me is JBL.
Oh, God, JBL.
JBL as a commentator. I was thinking wrestler and then,
no,
man.
I like him. I don't know what it is. I like him. He has an authoritative voice. So it sounds good when he's talking over and talking at the play-by-play.
Oh, God, I hate
he cracks me up. I will say that, like, it feels like he's one of the few of these guys who has a really long leash as far as, like, his ability to sort of get away with shit and say what he wants.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know, like, what his deal is, like, but through all the other rumors of bullying and all this shit, like, the fact that he says half of the shit he says and, like, still managed to end up on commentary is amazing.
Yeah. JBL, the one thing I did like JBL for on commentary was he was good for a laugh, like once a show, and you'd be like, oh, that was really funny, Jibble. And then I would just go back to being mad at him.
Well, but the other thing about JBL is his shit is kind of aged okay. Whereas if you go back and you try to watch some of the Attitude Era shit and you listen to King, you sit there half the time and go, shut the fuck up.
Oh God, it's can be hard to listen to, man. It really can be. Which,
like, King was a top choice for color for me, but because of how poorly it has aged,
yep,
I can't use him. I'm sure if I listen to his shit from Memphis, it might be good, where he owned the territory and owned it in every way, shape, and form, but...
Yep. Yeah, totally, yeah.
Isaac, who's your... Well, we just spoke to you. I just spoke... Shane.
Oh.
Who's your favorite heel commentator?
Heel commentator. This isn't my favorite of all time, but this is the name that just keeps popping into my head over and over again as I'm trying to quick think. And I'm going to be honest, this is looking at the future. I think my answer is Chris Jericho.
Hopefully He takes that route.
I really would love to see him go that route. It's been so entertaining.
Real quick, obviously, like this was just a very short burst of time where he was doing it. It's very soon. obviously when we're recording this to when he was commentating. So I feel like it's really fresh. But I mean, the amount, other than the fact that AEW at that point had a crowd and WWE didn't, the amount that Jericho added to that show is just incredible. I mean, and like what he did there is broad reaching. Like, it's not even just like, oh, he was funny. I mean, he fucking, I think, legitimately changed two human beings' lives. Obviously, you have Shug D, maybe? Pineapple Pete.
Pineapple Pete. Come on, get his name right, dude.
I was trying to think of his actual
Look at this clown. Look at this guy. Get out of here. Get out of here, Pineapple Pete.
Yeah, I don't like that guy.
I like that guy.
Get out of here, Pineapple Pete.
Oh, so good.
No, but I was talking to Isaac about this last night. There was a period of a couple days where his shirts were #1 on ProWrestlingTees.com. I think the other one is Aubrey Edwards, the referee from AEW. Him just constantly shouting at her, I don't like that referee. That's Aubrey Edwards. She always sticks her hand in my face and tells me what to do. And then you just get Shivani, who's now like the grizzled old veteran who's just like letting Jericho do his thing. I mean, literally,
Schiavone.
like literally, kind of like the inverse of when he was in WCW when he was with Bobby. You know what I mean? Where Bobby was just like, I mean, not even the inverse, just the same thing. Where Bobby's just running wild and Shivani's just like, Bobby, that's ridiculous. Or there were times where Jericho would just say something that was so dumb, talking about stabbing somebody with a fork, like Abdul the Butcher, and then you could just like feel Shivani just like turn and look at him and like try not to laugh and then just do one of these, and then they would just move on. Like I legitimately think that Jericho could be one of the best commentators in the business today if he focused a little bit more on the actual wrestling and not just being funny, which he's very good at. I legitimately think if Jericho had to retire tomorrow, he could turn into the best heel play-by-play commentator on the planet.
I would really love that, especially if he gets like extra excited anytime anyone puts on an armbar.
I can get behind him permanently on commentary because it also highlights the biggest issue with AEW's commentary team. Nobody's exciting.
Nope, not really. Nobody's excited.
Yeah,
you have JR and Tony, who are both the straight men from their respective promotions at the time.
Yeah, you have two straight play-by-play commentators.
And Excalibur, who...
Don't even get me started on Excalibur, please.
I'm just going to say, if you're going to have a wrestler commentator, it's got to be something the fans know. And yes, I know he was a wrestler. I know he had a promotion. But
see, I didn't
no
even know that.
fan here doesn't know that shit.
See, that's the thing is, I don't even know that. And at no point, at least that I've ever seen in AEW's history of shows, have they ever even tried to explain who he is, why he wears a mask, what his backstory is, what his history is. He's just some guy who's on commentary named Excalibur with a mask, and that's it. And I know that like the Smarks know, I know like the true fans know his history, but like if you're going onto broadcast TV and cable TV and you're trying to like build a new brand and you're not going to at least explain something that basic to people like me, who's not like, I don't have that, like, I don't know who the fuck he is, and I still don't. He's just the guy who does commentary in a mask. And I'm not saying he's bad. I just want to know who the fuck he is, and I want them to tell me.
I want him to have some energy.
That too.
Yeah, I mean, Excalibur isn't great. Two things though. One, I'm pretty sure he's like really good friends with the Young Bucks. Pretty sure they were in. Yeah, because Excalibur was a commentator for PWG, and they're like that's where they got Rick Knox, the bald ass referee from. So like they picked PWG.
Yeah.
Two, let's get back on topic, boys. We're not going to start yelling about Excalibur. We're talking about good
Thank you. Sorry. That means my heel commentator is the next pick. And this is a tough one for me because I think there's two of them, and I don't know which one I like more. So I'm just going to sort of go a little more old school and a little more new school. And when it comes to old school, I'm a huge, huge fan of Jesse Ventura on commentary. I don't know why, but he always cracked me up. I loved his, like, how ridiculous he was. Like, every time you saw him, you would say, the fuck is this guy wearing? And like, he immediately made you fucking hate him. Like, there was never a point where I was watching Jesse Ventura and I was like, God, this guy's like so cool. And then the other one, which I think is probably a better answer, at least with from Shane's reaction there, is Paulie Dangerously, Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's heel commentary work is incredible because he simultaneously makes somebody seem completely fucking despicable and at the same time absolutely unbelievable and amazing. And he has the ability to sell fucking, I mean, he could sell fucking, ice to an Eskimo, as they say. He's just that good. Like, anytime you see a shoot with him where he explains an angle that like people hate, you end up leaving being like, he's kind of right about that. And not in the same way where you like, Jim Cornette can be right about something and you still end up leaving being like, fuck Jim Cornette and fuck his opinion. But like, no, like Paul Heyman as heel commentary, especially when he was working with JR, god damn, that was a good team. That was a really, really good team.
Yeah, no arguments here at all.
And, well, that leads us right into our favorite before the new millennium team.
Oh,
your favorite pre-2000s team. And I think I'll lead us off here because my favorite team was a one-night thing. But I think it had potential. And that was that one-night team of Michael Cole and Jim Cornette for the SmackDown pilot.
Ah. God, Jim Cornette. I fucking love him as a heel commentator.
I love
really
him as a heel color commentator. And it's the only way Michael Cole's getting on this fucking list.
And I wanna share something here, because Shane, I see your face. Did we not talk about this last night? How good Jim Cornette is on commentary.
I've never said anything good about Jim Cornette.
Even you were like, God damn, the way he's selling this is really good.
No, I mean, no. Jim Cornette is a great commentator when he's not making racist remarks about the wrestlers in the ring.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
That is a line he has used many times. Racist as shit as it is, that was not his first use at the end of
it ain't the first time, nope. My favorite pre-2000 team, as much as I want to say JR and the King, I feel like it's almost too easy. And like you were saying, if you go back and watch it now, as good as it was then, the JR's work holds up just great. The King, not so much. No, I think for me, it goes back to when I really first started watching wrestling, and that was Vince McMahon and Macho Man Randy Savage on commentary.
Oh, Raw's War.
Yeah, I really like that team. You could tell that like Vince really cared about Macho's opinion. Macho is just always so out of his fucking mind that no matter what he said was just great. Yeah, ooh, look at him, yeah. And yeah, I don't know, there was something about it that like sold the larger than life reality of it. And I still remember when Vince McMahon went on TV and like was almost crying because Macho Man went to WCW, and him being like, I miss you, Randy. You're like, damn, dude. But yeah, that team was really good, and for a time when wrestling as a whole was fairly weak as far as like what they were doing.
Friar Ferguson.
yeah, I think that those guys managed to put over a lot of shit that should not have gotten over at all. So yeah, pre 2000, it's got to be those two.
All right, pre 2000s for me. I might be double dipping here, but I think it's worth it because this guy doesn't get talked about enough. I think my favorite pre 2000s commentary team. This was like 97 to 99 ish WCW, and it wasn't all the time, but when they had Schiavone, Bobby the Brain, and Mike Tenay on, and you just had this crazy contrast of Mike Tenay being the actual like encyclopedia play-by-play, and then you had him kind of splitting time with Shivani, who also did some play-by-play, but was more kind of the face color commentator. He was just there to deal with Bobby. And you just had Bobby doing everything I said 20 minutes ago. And then so you just have like this love for wrestling in Mike Tenay, where he's just talking about all of these moves and, psychosis with that, with that double drop kick from the top rope. And then you've got, Bobby, I hope he lands on his head. And then Shivani, like, you can't wish that, Bobby. Like, and it just worked. Yep. Like, I think Mike Tenay is the most underrated commentator in the history of pro wrestling by a lot.
Yeah, you're a huge Tenay fan.
Dude, I love Mike Tenay. Seriously, Isaac, I feel like you'll get it more like if we watch more TNA at some point. Because he is legit. I mean, we will because we have to.
Does he call he calls lockdown?
Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, and he is every bit as knowledgeable as far as moves themselves go as a JR or as a Matt Stryker. He's every bit as good as far as saying what is going on in the match right now. And being excited for it.
I like his TNA work from the times I have watched TNA.
Yeah, I haven't watched enough to comment.
And I watched
distracting.
I watched an ass load of TNA when I was younger.
And we all know how much you can fit in your ass.
A lot.
A whole lot. It's amazing, guys. I'm telling you. You gotta search his other videos, but they aren't on YouTube.
Yeah, no. www.x. Sorry, never mind.
Assload.com, which is actually a good segue into this week's sponsor, which is Assload.com and Vaseline. Both have generously supported this show.
Hey, real quick, Isaac, I got a joke for you. What do you get when you cross an owl with a bungee cord?
What's that?
My ass. You've never seen that movie, clearly. All right, Dozer.
So I did my favorite pre-2000, so I'm going to have Isaac lead us off with his favorite post-2000 team.
Yeah, this one we've actually mentioned, and I'm going to maybe, I don't know, can you pull up the clip that I shared with the group from these guys, Vampiro and Matt Stryker?
Give me 30 seconds.
Yeah, no rush. I'm gonna fanboy about these guys for a minute while you do that, because I really genuinely think that they are the most underrated, overlooked broadcast team in the business today. Matt Stryker has come so far in his play-by-play. It's unbelievable. His knowledge. I mean, I remember when he called. Was it Wrestle Kingdom 10? He called with JR. I think it was Wrestle Kingdom 10. He called with JR, and he ran circles around JR on commentary that night. And granted, JR hadn't done commentary for a long time, but that was incredible. And then Vampiro, like, I know we made fun of him a lot in our early episode. Kevin Kelly was one.
Kevin Kelly.
The clip is ready whenever you are.
Yeah. So let's just take a little clip, because I don't know if a lot of people have seen these two work together, but they just really play off each other very, very well. and they just genuinely care about wrestling. And Vampiro will even mark out to the point where he throws his headset off and jumps in the crowd. He gets so excited. So anyway, yeah, let's take
Here we
a look
go.
at this.
Vampiro loses it and rants on commentary about a bad ref.
Oh, this one.
And even I'm going to say that. Matt Stryker, welcome to Mexico, brother, my hometown. Get it right, brother.
Welcome to Mexico,
some of the other
brother, my
officials-
hometown.
I would like to point out that Johnny Mundo and my
See the panel watching. Not enough again. Super slow count, but at least the referee is consistent.
sucks.
No.
You see, even the crowd agrees with me.
Buckle led to the end of the match here. Could this be the same? No.
What is up with that count? That was an 18 count. Come on, ref.
At least the referee is consistent.
Well, he's got nice white boots.
Well, New Japan has red shoes, and we have him.
He's got white fairy boots. You can read into that, and yes, it's true.
Back to the action in the ring.
For time.
Clock is ticking down, and no fighter is near the ring. Hang on a second. Mundo is in. Clock is at 4, 3, 2. Referee's not even getting down for a count. And
Suck
again,
so much.
we
Suck
go.
so much. You suck so much. You jabril referee. You're gonna go for the count. No.
Vamp,
What?
the official saw that the cover came with 2 seconds left, did not want to waste the time, understood what was at stake. We go into 5 minutes sudden death.
I just want
Here, look right here.
Yeah,
the clock is at 2. You're right, he's not down. You're right.
Fucker.
Whoa. How do you really feel?
God damn.
Hey. It's okay. So now,
Not okay.
Takes off his headset.
team here, Team USA, captained by Matt Hardy, will choose.
I'm sorry. I know you get mad at me when I get too passionate and I start to lose it. Yeah, and I do apologize, but I don't. You know what I mean? Forget that.
You're allowed to have your opinions, my friend.
Yes, and I'm sure there's a lot of people
Now,
who think the same.
How do you say sudden death? What honest, I have to remain impartial, but this United States team looks pretty pissed off. But it'll be.
I mean, you can go ahead and say that.
The team looks upset.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Now Mundo and
For many nations, when I had my little outburst,
Could you imagine?
call Matt.
Vamp, I got to tell you, Twitter is loving your opinions on the referee earlier on. So.
See, I told you, and you yell at me for telling
No,
the
I was
truth.
not yelling at you. I just.
Whoa, brother.
White Emerald Fusion cover 2. No!
Wow.
The cadence of the count comes into play again.
As the referee, I told you.
Matt Hardy is beside himself, realizing that Johnny Mundo, TNA Lucha Underground, advances to the second round, and Johnny Mundo is none too pleased with the official. Would you wear the white boots?
The white fairy boots that he got from Pimpinella?
Oh, didn't
no.
Black Sabbath have that song, Fairies Wear Boots?
Something like that, yeah. But I would.
Oh, hang on a second here, a nice ovation. Back to the action here, the replay.
God, I
The
hate
referee
Starship Pain.
making the count with this cadence, and any way you look at it, Team USA is victorious.
And he was a little Liberace-esque in his movements, but yeah, he did kind of finish
He
it.
wishes his brother George was here.
Oh my God. I just love it. Like, those are obviously just some clips and it's like him going off, but that's their style. They really riff a lot. And, Vampiro is just so goddamn passionate and he loves wrestling so much. And Matt Stryker is really, really good at play-by-play and playing the straight man to Vampiro's insanity. And they're just a great team. So watch Lucha Underground if you haven't, because the matches are incredible, but their commentary work is just the best in the.
Isaac, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
Yeah, no,
Cut out right there.
Right there. Well, I got nothing else to say.
Okay. So those last few words will never be known.
Oh, the last few words is they're the best. They're the best play-by-play in the business, or the best commentary team in the business right now. And I don't think it's anywhere close. Anyone's close.
Sounds good. Okay, so I guess
Today, right now. Yeah.
It's my turn for favorite post 2000 team. And God, there's been a lot of them. Like, holy crap, I'm trying to think of my favorite.
Yeah.
And
Please tell me it includes Booker T.
no.
Five time. Sorry.
I think I'm just going to make it easy. I really love the current NXT people. I think they're good. They sell the product well.
They're an incredible team.
I can't remember. There was definitely a time, and I forget if it's NXT or Raw, wherever it was, where we had Morrow and Corey Graves.
It's
I feel
NXT.
Yes.
And I enjoyed the hell out of that team.
Oh, yeah. So good. So good.
All right, well, that's what I was gonna say for mine, but just to prove Isaac wrong. But like, I'm just gonna have to go for what my actual favorite is. Then, like I said, I was gonna double dip. I love Mike Tenay and Don West.
Okay.
Early days of TNA, Don West is not a good commentator. He's just not. Like,
Is he
is he
better or worse than Mongo McMichael?
Way better. Like he just kind of bumbles his way around and it's a slam. But like it was a really good contrast where Don West was kind of heel sometimes, but he wasn't really. He was kind of just a dude. And then you have like this encyclopedia Mike Tenay where he's just like, Dragon Sleeper suplex off the top rope through a table. There is no way that his carpitulum would be able to accelerate to the point where he could kick out. And then Don West is like, he fucking slammed him to hell.
Dude, those capitulums too, man. You got to watch out for those.
And then like it just created this really cool and really, really good dynamic. Like, and again, this is all just from what I remember when I was a kid, and I just remember watching so much TNA and then just loving it. Like, is that the best commentary team alive? Since 2000? No, because that goes to NXT.
But is it your favorite?
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Boom.
Well, then it's time to unveil our dream teams. Shane, we'll give you first dibs on picking your dream team. And to keep things interesting, we're going to make this a three-man booth.
Okay. I think this one isn't too bad for me, honestly. I'm gonna go Joey Styles play-by-play.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna go NXT era Corey Graves for heel color.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I'm going to go NXT currently Beth Phoenix for face commentary.
Wow.
I really feel like Beth being like this former wrestler who just is this good person, but like understands when people do bad things. Like she might say that's like horrible or whatever, but like she gets it. You know what I mean? She used to be a wrestler. And you have Corey, who is also a former wrestler, who can be every bit as ridiculous as Bobby the Brain or Jericho or whatever, but also provides with his commentary, especially if you watch older NXT stuff, this real legitimacy to it. Like he can call moves just as well as most play-by-play commentators, but he's just so good at kind of sitting back and just waiting for his turn and delivering. And then Joey Styles is Joey Styles. I mean, I had to leave something for you two guys, so I did not choose Cena or Morrow.
Okay. Isaac, who do you got?
I gotta kick my cat's ass because he just knocked over my Sonos off my windowsill as he's climbing the screen. Hey, psst, get out from there. Anyway, hey, Pineapple Pete, get out of there. So my dream team, I really enjoyed Matt Stryker as play-by-play. And I want to see JR do color commentary, JR in his prime. I think those two together would be awesome. And then I think I'm going to steal from your book, Shane, and I'm going to go with your homeboy Jericho as heel commentary on that, because I think the three of those guys together could do some really great work. JR and Jericho with their history could play off each other really well. And then Matt Stryker just, again, like doing what he did with Vampiro there, being like, I got to stay impartial, guys. I'm just trying to call the match, you know, like, and he can do that so well that I think that would just be an incredible team to watch. And the knowledge that and insight that those three could all offer.
Yeah, I mean, not to you know, comment on your pick too much, but I also feel like with Stryker and JR, that would just give leeway to Jericho to just be the most ridiculous ever. Like he wouldn't need to commentate on anything actually happening. He could just
hit him
with a chair. Yeah.
Yeah, you go full Jericho and just be like his character and like just himself, which is incredibly entertaining.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think I'm just going to play it easy, play it safe. I'm going to have JR as my play-by-play. I'm going to have Bobby the Brain as my color. And as my wrestler, because I feel that is its own category, I am putting the Body in there.
Yeah.
Jesse the Body. There you go. Framed up, teed up.
You know who I think would be really good on that team instead of the Body, and this just popped into my head, and Shane probably will hate this, but I think CM Punk would be great in that wrestler heel commentator role.
He is an honorable mention because
I see your face, Shane.
Done it once.
But it was great.
He was fucking phenomenal.
It was incredible.
I would love him to come back as a commentator.
If we're just choosing our favorite wrestlers for commentary, okay, well then my heel commentator is going to be Walter, all right? That's what's going to happen.
Hey, at least there's a precedent for CM Punk being a commentator.
Ring Comp and all that, you know, Imperium.
And now, just a little quirk here. Let's talk about our favorite ring announcer.
I think we
It was not Howard Finkel.
Well, then it's all done. It's Howard Finkel.
Okay, let me go first. Let me go first. I'm gonna go first.
Shane.
I'm not gonna choose who Isaac's gonna choose because I know who Isaac's gonna choose, and that would get me in trouble. My favorite ring announcer is Lillian Garcia by a lot. If it's not Howard Finkel, it's Lillian Garcia by just.
For me, it's. She's.
You don't even know her name.
No, Lillian Garcia. I'm telling you, I agree with you. Yeah.
Are they talking about Lucha Underground?
Oh no, she's great. I don't know her name. She's great. She's not my favorite though. I mean, it's Howard Finkel, and I'm choosing him even though I'm not allowed to because Howard Finkel is the greatest.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Not.
And but good Lord, like who else?
Lillian. Legitimately, Howard is the greatest of all time. Lillian is too. I mean, again, between her like singing the national anthem, whether that's your thing or not, but just like remember that, you know what I mean? She started off every show by singing the fucking national anthem. She was there from the start of the show to the main event. Triple H, like like I can hear it in my head. You know what I mean?
Best female ring announcer there's ever been.
Yeah.
By a lot.
Totally. No doubt.
The more watching tonight's main event really made me realize how much female ring announcers lack. Because
do not talk about my friend Dasha, please.
I'm talking about her, but we'll get there. But since I'm not going to pick people who've already been picked, I'm just going to say Bruce Buffer. That's an iconic voice.
Well, it's probably the most iconic calls of all time. I don't think that there's anybody who can top Let's Get Ready to Sorry, no, I'm not saying it. Let's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
I don't
no.
want to
I
get hit by
mean,
copyright.
and then when you think about something else, you think about his call. You know, like how far breaching his calls are. I mean, that was a whole portion of DX's gimmick. Let's get ready to suck it. Like,
Yep.
his calls were so synonymous with WCW. WWE felt the need to attack the fucking ring announcer. Like,
And he crossed over from, you know, I mean, his boxing, MMA, like
obviously.
everything. Yeah, I mean, he was the voice, you know, that you would want at a boxing match.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely.
So, but before we get to tonight's main event, we just have a couple things going around in the world. We have WWE finally getting some brains and putting some Performance Center people in the crowd to give a little bit of noise.
What took them so long? I don't understand, like, how this was a difficult decision to make.
They're in Florida, man. They could have done that a long time. Florida just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, they could have had live crowds the whole time. They could have had huge crowds. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it one bit. It made no sense. I mean, I'm glad they finally did, because it's like, I mean, it's still
might actually be tolerable.
Yeah, it might be tolerable.
Money in the bank.
I watched a little bit of Raw last night. It was pretty unbearable, but it was better than it has been since they lost the crowds.
Yeah, and
I hate the plexiglass. I think it looks like shit, but
I think they're teeing us up for when real crowds are allowed back in.
Yeah.
Even AEW will probably have to have something similar to that, at least in the interim. So I think they're teeing us up so we're already used to it and we don't see it, whereas it'll come as a wallop to AEW when that goes up if they resume live fans.
I mean, AEW can get walloped all they want, but they were just so ahead of the curve anyways.
100%.
It's just what took WWE so long is Vince McMahon is fucking old, out of touch, and senile, and needs to go the same fucking door he walked in on.
Yeah. And
I'm not arguing that.
And, then we finally have a new NXT call-up. Matt Riddle will be making his debut on SmackDown.
This just in, Matt Riddle has been suspended for 30 days for a wellness policy violation.
No, they took weed off that list.
Oh, they'll still get him, dude. I mean,
what's that, man? Fuck, dude. What's up, bro?
like I just make a bunch of fun of Goldberg, and I saw him backstage, and I was like,
bro,
what's up, bro? And he was like, I'm not your bro, and I was like,
I'm not your bro.
He was like,
look,
okay, bro.
Matt Riddle could beat Goldberg because the door entering the match is beating Goldberg.
Oh, he would whoop the shit out of Goldberg.
Yeah, Matt Riddle's also a former MMA fighter.
Yeah.
like Matt Riddle was a good MMA fighter too. He just got kicked out by dumbass Dana White because he wouldn't stop smoking weed. So he just did the smart thing and said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna become a shoeless professional wrestler."
Yeah. He doesn't care if Joe Rogan smokes weed though, so that's good at least.
Yeah. I mean, I all I'm gonna say is I'm a huge Matt Riddle fan. Isaac especially knows that. I've been on the Matt Riddle train for a very long time.
You converted me, man. You converted me 100%. I was not sold, and then the more I watched, the more I was like, all right, I dig it. I definitely dig it.
He just gets it.
Definitely.
In a very similar, other than charismatic, he doesn't, at least in NXT yet. He doesn't have the I'm gonna bring up a big name here. He doesn't have the Kurt Angle charisma, but he's got the Kurt Angle in ring work. Period.
Yes.
Like he can go. I would say he can go better. Well, no, that's unfair. He can go every bit as good as Kurt Angle did 3 years or whatever into Kurt Angle's career as what he's doing now.
Yeah, Kurt Angle is so special too.
Well, and that's not really Kurt Angle's fault because Kurt Angle came at a time when it was more about characters, and now we're moving into this more ring-based generation. You know what I mean? Like people look for a high work rate. So that's not Angle's fault there, but
Angle also had some really amazing opportunities too early in his career to work with guys like Benoit and Guerrero and all.
Hey, we're not allowed to say that name.
The B guy.
You
but
know,
all those guys
like that.
but yeah, no. Dean Malenko, like he was able to like work with those guys, tour with those guys, talk with those guys, and like he managed to get up to their level so fast.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Riddle had to go work the indies, like the actual indies, which I have a ton of respect, ton of respect for him for doing that. Because you know what Kurt didn't have to do? Go wrestle in front of 20 people, ever, literally. As far as professional wrestling,
at how good he was without having to put that.
Oh
work in.
yeah.
Not to say he didn't put work in. I don't want to say it like that because he fucking worked his ass off.
Yeah, he didn't pay his dues though. Like as far as professional wrestling dues, he never paid his professional wrestling
He did win a gold medal with a broken freaking neck.
As far as professional wrestling dues go, it's damn true. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm excited to see how they fuck up Matt Riddle. It's going to be awesome. They're going to fuck them all up. And it's going to be terrible. So speaking of terrible,
I'm going to cut you off right now and tell you it is time for tonight's main event with no time limit, no rules, and no common sense applied.
Good.
Strapping with some popcorn right now, boys and girls.
Before we get into anything, I'm just going to talk about the results of the preliminary match. We didn't watch it as a crew, so we're just going to quickly...
I didn't watch it at all.
Yeah, I don't... Did you watch it, Isaac?
No, I didn't, yeah.
Once again, I'm Shane. We've done this 2 weeks in a row, brother.
It's his gimmick.
I didn't watch it. However, I did hear that I believe Chuck Taylor of the Best Friends hit a pile driver on the floor on one of Private Party people. I've heard that was a spot to go watch, a pile driver on the floor. But yeah, Best Friends won.
They defeated Private Party.
They got number one contender.
They have a chance. They have a title opportunity coming up.
Yeah.
So that leaves us.
Yeah, I think that leaves open their storyline though. So you can have them get the titles and then have Private Party come in.
That leads us into the Casino Ladder match for a future AEW World Championship.
All right, let's go. This had all my favorite wrestlers in it. It featured Jimmy Havoc, not actually in the match, but playing a prominent role. It had my friend Darby Allin. It had my friend Joseph Janela, who came in with just a big flurry of strikes, of hits. I mean, he came in, he freaking cleared house. It had everything. It had Darby Allin taking 3 death bumps. It had a big, muscly white man that Vince should have wanted at some point, but never got. It was a good ladder match.
It had some of the most ridiculous, like, long cells I've ever seen. Where somebody accidentally jumping, going underneath or whatever, Orange Cassidy, and then sliding out of the ring and then laying on the ground for 8 minutes.
Yeah, I just I didn't say Orange Cassidy because I wanted you to say his name. Gimmick infringement on
Freshly Squeezed.
Oh shit. Velveteen Dream. But anyways, yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. Was it great actual wrestling? No. Was it fun? Yes.
So,
plus the right guy won.
Yeah, Cage won.
The only actual wrestler in the match.
I mean, the thing that drove me nuts about that match was like the ridiculous overselling of like stupid shit, and like it just felt like there was a lot of points where people were just laying around outside the ring, just waiting for their spot.
Okay, yeah. I have a question. Does anybody believe that it actually took like 6 professional wrestlers to carry a casino chip?
No, and I don't believe that Orange Cassidy should have fucking helped pick it up if he's too lazy to learn how to set up a ladder. Why is he going to help carry a heavy-ass poker chip?
Because he got beat up by Brian Cage, dude. It actively
just sit
affected
back
him.
and be like, fuck this guy.
Let them do it.
Yeah, I'm just like, all right, that was a little weird. Yeah, I thought the whole Orange Cassidy, like, yeah, it's his gimmick, blah, 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 but, like, I don't know how to set up a ladder. What are the rules to this match? I mean, Excalibur was at least, like, that was, like, the one funny thing I think he said the whole time was fucking – Tony Khan explained this to you, like, 200 times, man. But, like, the whole thing is just, like, all right, like – the only reason it worked was because Darby Allin came in and was so over the top and fucking out of control, fucking boom, 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 all over the place, that like having it slow down.
Breaking his leg.
Yeah, slowing
That was
it
a
down
good time.
helped, but I just,
You know,
hate it. I hate him. I hate
Thinking
Orange
back on the
Cassidy.
match, sitting here, looking at the competitors, and I remember seeing good old Scotty Goldman come into this match. But my God, I can't remember a damn thing he did in the match.
Yeah.
I remember him being there, but that's it.
It sort of felt like that. Like there was a couple of really big spots, like, you know, the Darby Allin death bumps, but like for the fucking, when he took the slam on the goddamn chips, on the big chip. Poor Brian Cage underneath that with no idea that it's coming.
No,
that
was Joey Janelle and somebody. That wasn't.
Oh, that was Janelli. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, here we go. Nutella Janelli.
For a half-hour match, I'd expect to at least remember something from each competitor.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
too long.
You know, this is a conversation for just us because I can remember something from every competitor, even Luchasaurus.
Well, they also had that fucking awful Marco stunt spot in the middle of that too.
Yeah, that was on Orange Cassidy, so you should
It
have
was
loved
awful. It would have loved it if it was just Luchasaurus just choke slamming him straight to hell
it.
instead of a
Marco's son is helping out his big buddy.
It was awful. 1 star, 0 stars. It was trash. Didn't like it. They murdered Darby Allin at the end. They just fucking took like the most unsafe bump I've ever seen him just get thrown. And I don't know if you've watched it back at all, but he comes off of that ladder, off of the gorilla press, and his head hits the crossbar on that ladder and bends it completely in half before he just hits the floor. It was a fucking gnarly bump.
I give it 2.5 stars.
Out of how many? 8, 10?
5.
Oh,
Wow.
damn.
Wow, all right.
I was giving it 3 out of 5.
Wow, all right. I give it 1.
Not for anything other than I was entertained through it. It could have been 8 minutes shorter, but I was entertained.
I'll give it a 1.5, and I'm going to give it the extra half star because of Joey Janela. Because when he took that bump from Cage, it's like, fucking motherfucker.
You know, all of like, because I was like, was that Joey Janela?
Oh God,
like,
I was dying. I laughed so hard.
Fucking motherfucker.
Well, I think we also just need to talk about that Darby Allin either broke his leg or can sell shit with the best of them.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
I think it's a blurred line with him, man. He hurts himself so much anyways. Is it really broken or am I selling it? Who knows? I'm just going to move on.
Which is great, but nobody should have taken that spot off the ladder with the skateboard. That was just fucking stupid.
It seemed a little reckless. But he did do that, what was it, that oh, fuck, it was almost like a destroyer off the top rope with the dude, and it looked like he had his legs wrapped up pretty good around him at that point. That was when I was like, I don't think he's as hurt as he looks, but it's hard to tell, you know, because someone him. beats the hell out of
unfortunately,
himself.
it doesn't lead to a long career, but that's Darby Allin's thing. I mean, look at his other matches from AEW themselves. The fucking through the ring post, I mean, like through the turnbuckle ring post back bump that he does all the time, just looks nasty. That fucking
Even his
coffee drop
coffin drop, yeah.
Well, the coffin drop he tried to hit Cody with really early in AEW, where it was just on the apron.
Off the
Yeah.
top, turnbuckle.
If anybody's ever watched wrestling, they've heard me do something like this. I'm not gonna do it as loud, but like something kind of like that. That is at least once a match with Darby Allin thing for me, because he just does something so stupid.
He's like Mick Foley without like the padding. Like he's not gonna last. Man.
No. So that brings us into our second match of the night, which was MJF with Wardlow, who
didn't show up. No.
Versus Jungle Boy.
Without Marco or Lucha.
This was the best pure wrestling match. It was the only pure wrestling match, really, but it was the best pure wrestling match of the night.
Best pure wrestling match of potentially the empty arena era.
It was really, really good. I was super skeptical about it. I love MJF, but as you probably could guess, Jungle Boy is probably not somebody I've bought into. He's one of the wrestlers that I look at, and I'm not small. I'm like 6'3", 225, but I look at someone like Jungle Boy, and I'm like, yeah, he's tough, but I feel like I could kick his head off. I watched this match, and for about the first 2 minutes, I was like, but for about 15 solid minutes of this match, I forgot about it, and I actually bought into Jungle Boy.
Yeah.
Actually, they did something with him that I didn't think was possible, and they came very close to legitimizing him in my eyes as like a really good wrestler. I think he's incredibly talented. I don't know if I still fully buy into him being able to fight anyone much bigger than him, but that match was incredible. Best storytelling, pure storytelling of the night by far, and just best in-ring work. And MJF is just he's a treasure. He's a goddamn treasure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have very much to add to that at all. I mean, I'm just going to talk about a couple spots I liked in the storytelling a little bit. I mean, the storytelling was just classic, like fiery babyface against big bad heel. And it was just good guy versus bad guy, and the good guy just having the upper hand, and then the bad guy just not letting it happen, and then cheating, and then having the upper hand. And then let's talk about the final 2 minutes of this match. That's all I want to talk about. Not that the first 17 or 16 or whatever weren't good. They do some shit I would never I know MJF did this on the indies. I'm not super big on MJF on the indies. I just haven't seen a lot of his stuff. But MJF takes a Spike Rana, flipping backwards onto the apron. Just crazy, Big Dick Trevor head bump.
It was incredible.
Looking like Kota Ibushi. And then they climb to the top rope, and Jungle Boy hits this fucking avalanche Liger bomb off the top rope. And if you would have put a gun to my head and said, is Jungle Boy going to win this? If you're wrong, you lose, I would have said yes in that moment. It just everything said that he was gonna win. And they build it up that way, and then MJF kicks out, and then they just start exchanging these just pure wrestling holds.
And those roll-ups, those back-to-back roll-ups, and that bridge to finish him off was just beautiful, man.
The final 2 minutes of this match were the first 2 minutes of any Dean Malenko Rey Mysterio match, or Dean Malenko Eddie Guerrero match. You know what I mean? They ended this match the way cruiserweights generally start it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was just incredible. I mean, I was We all watched it, together, sort of. Isaac had already watched it, but then rewatched it again. But I mean, after that match, I was like, that was just incredible. I mean, like,
No, I was watching. I was watching with you guys. We were all sharing a stream on Zoom, and then I had the live stream going on my TV with the volume off, and I had this match going while we were watching the ladder match, and it was so hard to focus on that ladder match because the MJF and Jungle Boy shit was just so good, even without any volume, without any sound. Just like the pure wrestling was incredible, and like even without commentary, anything, I was completely transfixed by it.
and it was the only time the entire night that JR actually sounded interested in what was happening.
It was, yeah, absolutely. I
Like,
think we can get into that more in the main event.
Even for the actual wrestling main event being Mox versus Brody, he just sounded disinterested. He just sounded like he didn't want to be there. Oh, it's John Moxley. We'll get into that later.
Yep.
Dozer.
I just enjoyed the shit out of it. I loved it. I don't have much to say. That neck bump on the ring apron, that was like, oh shit. I thought the match was over.
Yeah.
I did not expect MJF to come out. Going in, I had every expectation of him to win. Mid-match, I doubted that. I'm not surprised at the end of the day he won it. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars right there.
I would also agree that it's like a 4 to 4.5 star match. I mean, with a crowd, that might have been 5 stars. But, I mean, I'll tell you that the best thing this match did, and the reason why it's such a good match, is MJF didn't come out of it looking bad. Obviously, he won. He didn't look bad in a win. But the real star was Jungle Boy.
Yeah.
Me and Isaac, again, talked about this last night. Jungle Boy legitimized himself in a lot of people's eyes.
He came as close as he's ever been to being legitimized in my eyes. I mean, he still has some work to do, I think, to prove it. But that went a very long way to me actually giving a shit about him.
For collectively, the two of them having less wrestling experience combined than most of the wrestlers on the card.
Facts.
Says a lot to their talent.
Yeah,
what is it, like 7 years combined?
9 years combined.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jungle Boy is 22 and MJF's 24.
Yeah.
So
I believe it was 5 years for MJF and 4 years for Jungle Boy, or vice versa.
No, I think it was 2 for Jungle Boy or something. I felt like it was shorter.
No, they were within 1. It was 5 and 4.
Oh, it was definitely Jungle Boy being 4 and MJF being 5 then.
Yeah, it was a pretty small amount of time though, and for MJF to be as good as he is this early in his career, like Jesus Christ, I can't imagine how good he's going to be in another 5 years.
Yeah, like I'll tell you the thing that really sucks is like I'm 23, right? So like, just look at me, but then like look at them. And I just don't like, and I'm gonna be 24 on Friday. So like I'm, it's not even like, oh, you're 1 year younger than MJF. It's just like, wow, like, look if I would have applied myself to anything ever.
Yeah, well, don't worry, I'm 10 years older than him, and
well, yeah, I mean, you've got at least a reason to suck. I'm just young and choose to suck.
Yeah, don't worry, you'll have a reason to suck later.
So Isaac, what's your star rating on that one?
I would say 4 out of 5. That maybe 4.5. That's tied with my match of the night. That and one that comes a little later. We're both as good as it gets for the night, I think.
And one of the things, I believe it earned its runtime of 17 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I never felt like it was dragging at any point. I wanted it to keep going.
Yeah, it was a very exciting match.
Which leads us into the AEW TNT Championship match with the ugliest belt ever created, with Iron Mike Tyson at ringside. We have Cody with Arn Anderson facing Lance Archer with Jake the Snake Roberts.
Jack the Snack, dude.
I got to say that I expected a lot more from this match. I was really hoping for a lot more. I was actually kind of underwhelmed by it. I think had there been a crowd, I think it would have made a big difference because Cody matches with a crowd are always better. But I honestly, for me, the best part of the whole thing was Mike Tyson and his reactions. including the big yawn.
All in all, I think it was Cody's weakest performance to date.
In AEW for sure.
Yeah.
Shane?
I don't know about that. I mean, I definitely feel like it underdelivered, but I'll tell you why I feel like it underdelivered. That's because they won't stop having fucking Cody win. He is literally, like, he left WWE to, like, have the wrestlers choose and, like, create this thing, and he's fucking Triple H right now.
Yeah, I see a lot of that. I see a lot of people saying that, making that comparison, and I just...
He lost a lot of big matches recently, though.
I mean, the one thing I will say is that...
Go look at his, real quick, Isaac. Go look at his win-loss record for 2020. It's like 9-1, dude. He's been on a tear. I think the thing is that, you know, like he came in and said, you know, like they did the thing where he can't win the championship, like the heavyweight championship. And I mean, love him or hate him, he's one of the biggest stars they have. I mean,
he's one of their biggest names. He's one, if not the best promo outside of Jericho. And I don't know. I think that, like, what he's done to build it, I think putting that belt on him over Lance Archer right now helps legitimize that belt. And I don't know. I see a lot of people that hate on him for it, but I don't think he's putting that belt on him just to get himself over. I see that as a long-term strategy to get somebody else over.
But to me, wouldn't it have been better if Lance Archer would have won, even by cheating? You know what I mean? Who cares? And then Cody would have won after that belt like it was the last belt he's ever seen.
I don't.
You know what I mean?
I think that would work too. But I don't hate the decision.
I really don't like it.
Cody, I feel, is in a bit of a tough spot because they are simultaneously putting him as a wrestler competing in these matches and trying to be, well, AEW doesn't have a true authority figure. He's filling an authority figure role.
Yeah, I mean, he's part of who owns the company. And again, yeah. I don't have an issue with him winning the belt on a talent or anything like that level. I have an issue with him winning the belt when they brought in Lance Archer and they've built him like he's the craziest hot shit on the face of the planet. Especially, I have an issue with this when we get to the heavyweight title match, because they screwed their two biggest up and coming heels on the same night.
I disagree with you on that one.
I think the thing that they messed up in the Lance Archer is the finish on that match. And what do they call Crossroads now?
It's called the Crossroads.
Oh, is it still Crossroads?
Yes.
I think him getting beat on two Crossroads was kind of weird.
I like
a lot of people have been taking Crossroads recently and kicking out like crazy.
See, I actually like the finish because, again, like Cody hits him with the Crossroads and he looks at him for a second and then he picks him up for another one. It wasn't like he got hit with one and then got pinned and then kicked out. You know what I mean? And then he went to another one. He literally went, oh, this isn't going to work, so I'm going to do another one right now when I can. So I didn't have an issue with that. I also liked how they kind of went through the history of the Rhodes family, where he did the final cut. I think that's what he called it. The weird kind of horizontal but lifted suplex that Goldust did in WWE, and he kind of does the neck breaker deal, and then obviously hits the bionic elbow. I almost said atomic elbow. But he hits the bionic elbow. Like, I thought it worked in the story they were telling. And the match itself, to me, was fine. Like, it wasn't great, but it was good. I can't give it anything more than a 2 based on the rating, especially given what happened later in the night.
So,
I give it a 2.
I echo the 2 with it would have had a 3 if it was 5 minutes shorter. This match did not need to be 22 minutes long.
It was 22 minutes long. And I swear, like, still, like, the most entertaining part of it was Mike Tyson. It really was.
And I despise the ref coming from the back to narc.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that was
you either do that for every time that happens, or you don't do it at all.
I despised it.
Well, and the thing is they had set it up just fine without that ref coming out, because they had made it clear that Mike Tyson was there and he could do what he wants and he could enforce whatever he wanted. And so he could have seen that happen and gone up to Arn Anderson and gotten Arn Anderson's face and kicked him right out without the other referee coming in. Right. And that would have been a much more entertaining and interesting spot to have Mike Tyson square up with Arn Anderson and then square up with Jake the Snake and just kick them both out. Than having a referee come and be like, oh, he did the thing and he pushed the rope.
I don't understand why Jake was distracting the ref. Nothing about that spot made sense to me.
Yeah, no.
It should have been a lot simpler, but all in all, like that stuff, like the stuff with Tyson was entertaining, but the match should have been a little shorter, and it should have been a better in-ring match, and it just wasn't.
Yeah, so we're all set. That's a solid 2 from all 3 of us.
Yeah.
Now, I just have to start this one off with we have Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford with Kip Sabian.
And that's Penelope Ford coming in to replace a injured Britt Baker.
Yeah, so we have a match here with literally 0 stakes, 0 purpose, and 0 stars.
Yeah.
And it was better than the Cody match.
It was better than
Also,
it had
was
any
shorter.
Right. It was a little over 5 minutes, and it was better than it had any right to be. But it didn't belong on the pay-per-view.
No. If anything,
that would have been a great match for the pre-show. It would have been a great match on Dynamite, but it was not a worthy.
This is where AEW struggles. When it comes time for them to make a decision on changing something, they can't seem to get it right. So, okay, Britt Baker's out. Okay, and you're going to have Penelope Ford in here. Okay, so on the fly, you say, okay, we're going to move this to the pre-show, and we're going to move the best friends match to the main card.
Yeah, but they had probably also already advertised the best friends thing being on. But I'm just saying,
subject to change. Card subject to change, man.
Them, because again, they're still trying to get people to buy it. So why the fuck would you put the match with literally no stakes on the pre-show when you're trying to sell people buying the show? I understand why they did it. Again,
because they've had tons of shitty matches as their buy-in.
Yeah,
dude, dude, if you've already again, the bottom line is this: is if you're watching the Statlander and Penelope Ford match, you've already bought it. So who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I just thought it was unnecessary. They could have just said, you know what, we're gonna skip this one. She's injured. That's it. It sucks for Statlander, but. I mean, it was
the card wouldn't have missed the match not being there either.
No,
but
I give it 1 star because it was better than I expected.
I'm giving it a 2.5, and here's why. 1, because the right person went over. They didn't do some weird, funky, Penelope Ford just got put in the match, so she's gonna win. But it also was a really good introduction to Penelope Ford, who we haven't seen wrestle very much. That was a good way to showcase her talents and then actually become a part of the actual women's division rather than just be a valet for Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc now for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it was – yeah, I don't have much to say about it other than it was better than it really had any right to be, and there was some There's a couple of decent spots, but nothing that really sticks out.
I'm going to take Brian Zane's tact. I'm going to give it half a star because it was a match.
It was indeed a match.
Wrestling did occur.
Boy, that brings
But
us
it
into
wasn't
our next turd, which was not even a match.
0 stars.
Oh God.
No, it was a match. It has an official time of 3 minutes and 20 seconds. We have Dustin Rhodes with Brandy Rhodes versus Sean Spears in the complete and utter burying of Sean Spears.
Yeah. Let's get this one over quick. My notes are: what the fuck was that? Why? Seriously, why? Why is Tully Blanchard on his cock? Why? I think that sums up the whole match. They showed his butt. They spanked him on the butt. They stripped him naked, basically. Tully Blanchard was on his cock. It looked like his cock was hanging out. And it did nothing for either Dustin or Sean Spears other than make them both look stupid.
Yeah. That's everything I got.
Great.
I mean,
great.
it did make Dustin look stupid. I mean, he just like he kicked the shit out of a small child.
He spanked him on his bare bottom, dude. I guess Dustin's done worse. He's had to fucking dress like a baby and be led around on a leash by Luna Vachon. So
I mean, dude, if you're kicking somebody's ass to the point where you're stripping them naked and you can spank them, why wouldn't you? Because that shit is embarrassing. Speaking of embarrassing, Sean Spears left WWE and NXT so that way he could be taken seriously, and now he's getting stripped butt naked with another man on his penis, which is okay if that's what you want to do, but I don't think that's what he wants to do, and getting spanked on pay-per-view. Nonsense.
You know, he used to have the best gig in the world. He'd come in every year at number 10 in the Royal Rumble and get one of the biggest pops of the night.
10.
Yeah.
I think about Sean Spears literally like 9 months ago, like cracking Cody on the head with an unprotected hair shot, dude. Just crack. I mean, and a bunch of people got mad at that, but everyone was talking about it because it was insane.
And
they never went anywhere with it either. It felt
once again with my issue from 2 matches ago, you know who beat him for no reason? Cody.
Yep.
Cody buried fucking Sean, and he just hasn't been the same since. Cody buried Lance Archer, and he's not going to be the same after this.
Yeah, we'll see.
Cody has a fucking shovel strapped to his back, and he's just ready to get digging, dude.
Yep.
You know.
What are our star ratings on this shit?
0.
Yeah. Ooh, 0. -1.
Didn't do anything for anyone.
It was
a match.
awful.
Half a star.
No, it wasn't a match, though. I wouldn't even say that was a professional wrestling match. One of the men wasn't even dressed for it.
It was trash. It was 0 stars for me. But not worthy of any more discussion because it was so bad. Let's move on to Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose. And I got to say, this match, I was not expecting much because I'm not a huge Nyla fan. She reminds me kind of Nia Jax in the fact that she's just kind of sloppy. And, you know, like she's a big lady, but I will say that Shida looked fucking good in that match. She came out looking amazing. That finish where she gave her that freaking knee strike was like just looked brutal. And there was some spots in there that I was like, all right, I was not expecting it from either of them, and they both overperformed for me, big time.
Yeah, I mean, it was very good. I don't think I like it as much as Isaac did. I thought it was a very good, you know, kind of hardcore women's match. I feel like they played the size difference very well. I don't feel like in any way Ashita ever felt like she was less. Like they never they built it like, oh, it's this woman versus this woman. You know what I mean? One's bigger, one's smaller, but they never once treated her like she was a girl. You know what I mean? Like she was any less. It was just, she had to overcome it. I mean, I feel like in the end, I feel like the right person won. I don't think at this point in her career, Nyla is ready to lead a division. She's not crisp enough. She doesn't have the biggest log of moves. She's kind of sloppy, but the match itself really brought the best out in both women, and it was a good addition to an already good show.
It shows just how good Sheeta is to make her, like, both of them look so good.
I give it 3 stars to 3.5 stars on a good day. Like if I'm in the mood for that, it's definitely 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5 for me too.
NA, I fell asleep.
Did you actually fall asleep? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I fell asleep. I can't comment on it. I fell asleep with a cigar in my hand watching.
Hell yeah, that's my boy.
So I'm not going to rate it. It's not a comment on the match. I have a 2-year-old. I was up early.
That's why we call you Dozer, because sometimes you doze off, man.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Happens.
So that brings us to our co-main event, where we have Jon Moxley versus Mr. Brody Lee.
God, this match.
I found this
match
rather entertaining.
I thought it was probably, for me, I keep going back and forth whether I like this one more. I liked the Jungle Boy MJF match more, and I think they're probably both 4.5 stars for me because they were very different style matches, but boy, the storytelling in both was great.
And I think in this one, they did a better job of protecting the new hotshot heel in his loss.
I agree.
Oh, they definitely did a better job. I'm just saying, I feel like Moxley's win over Lee would have been better if Lance Archer would have beaten Cody earlier in the night. Yeah. Because, again, you have your 2 major singles, men's heavyweight titles, and both of them are controlled by Moxley and Cody. And it's like, all right, it's 2 white guys. Woo! You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I would rather see. I think I agree more with the decision on Mox keeping the belt right now than I do with Cody getting the belt. I get why they did it on both cases, but
I don't have an issue with this finish at all.
I think the way they finished the match, and there was some pretty gnarly spots, but that fucking
paradigm shift,
through the goddamn ramp looked so brutal. But even before that, the backdrop that he does to Brody off the table or whatever into that pile, and he's just laying in that pile of crap, and like it didn't look so brutal, but like when you see him just laying there and he just looks dead, and then you had the meme that came out of it is like, who wants Taco Bell when you're wasted? It's just got his arm up. So good.
Yeah, I mean, this was every bit of a ECW main event with Sandman and fucking Sabu. But like they could just wrestle.
But they can actually wrestle, and and I think with the bump they took with him, whether he actually got busted open, he probably bladed while he was down there, but him coming up out of that hole covered in blood, and then going back in, kicking out of the paradigm shift at 1.
Yeah, and then
kicking out of another one, and then finally Moxley
getting death ridered.
But yeah, and then like Moxley finally just saying "fuck this" and choking him completely out. I think that doesn't hurt Brody at all.
Oh no,
it did. I think it made Brody look tough as hell. It made Mox look tough as hell. And I thought, as far as like what they were doing and the kind of match it was definitely one of the 2 best matches of the night. Hands down. I loved it. I really loved it.
It legitimized Mox in a way that Jericho couldn't. That's really weird to say. But let's be honest here. I think everyone can agree. Brody Lee is a bigger man than Chris Jericho.
He is a much bigger man, and he can
Brody
wrestle.
Brody Lee is a younger man than Chris Jericho, and at this point, Brody Lee is a more athletic man than Chris Jericho. At
And
this point,
he can really wrestle.
yeah.
I mean, I
dude.
go back to his Money in the Bank ladder match he had years ago. That was the first time I looked at him and was like, "Holy shit!"
Isaac,
Like,
the
this
next
guy.
time,
So, the one thing I will say, and I didn't enjoy, was the fact I'm not enjoying how the rules are more suggestions in AEW, and they say they give the refs a lot of leeway. And I can get behind this to a degree if you'd begin building up, and not just Aubrey Edwards, but build up personas for the refs. So
Yep.
you're going to have the one ref that is a stickler, never bends an inch. Then you have a ref that lets them go, bends things a little. Then you could play with it.
Yeah, the fact that they
don't-
didn't have it as like a no DQ match or whatever, that it was like a straight wrestling match that devolved into that without any was a little weird for me, because it definitely felt like a hardcore match the whole
Yeah.
time.
See, I liked it. I liked it in the same way that I liked the way ECW did things. Well, not all the time, but I love how for main events they just let them go, because again, there was nothing worse than getting a fucking DQ finish in a main event. Nobody likes that. So just mitigate that by, letting them kind of do whatever they want.
Or just saying no DQ.
Well, no, because here's the thing is that if they actually want to do a no DQ match, then it's weapons are advised, not weapons are maybe okay depending on how the referee feels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No DQ at that point is just go beat the shit out of each other. Where the way it is now is like, look, if you guys feel the need to take it to this level, we'll let you, but we're not telling you to.
But I
I
think Dozer's right in what he's saying, that if you're going to have that happen, then have it be part of ref gimmicks and shit, and make it a little bit more interesting. Because they used
But then at that point, what's going to happen if a ref's in the main event. If you got the dickhead, then they're just going to have to wrestle clean. But
they can play it up in the storylines of having the face wrestler petitioning to get that ref.
Yeah, but I feel like at that point you're wasting valuable TV time. I'm like, I want this ref so that way you can't hit me with a chair because I can't survive being hit by a chair. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, you got to have more time for the fucking librarians to tell you to shush.
Their backstage segments aren't all they're cracked up to be as it is.
Yeah.
They could make it work. That's it. But again, that's just me. I'm still going to give it a solid 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Flaws and all.
4.5 for me, for sure.
I think I'm going to go 4, just on the cusp of like 4.25 or 4.5. Like, I really liked it. I really, really feel like that Jungle Boy MJF match was the best thing of the night.
Yeah, I think that these both for me were pretty equal, because they both offered such different stories, but they both told great stories.
Yeah.
So yeah, and God damn it, Mox is fearless.
I love
He
Mox.
is so fearless. All right, so that leads us to our
Oh, he's clipping again.
main event.
Yeah, it always clips when I yell.
No, I know.
So our main event is a stadium stampede match.
34 minutes. We don't know what the rules to a stadium stampede match are.
False count anywhere. First fall to a finish, dude. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
They're your rules.
Yeah.
You have Matt Hardy and the Elite, who are Adam Page, Kenny Omega, and Matt and Nick Jackson, facing off against the Inner Circle made up of Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, and Santana and Ortiz.
Proud and LA powerful. Sorry.
And you know what? Was it a great wrestling match?
No.
Was it
Far from it.
Was it entertaining as fuck? Yeah.
It
was
was
the best.
entertaining. It was entertaining. I will give it the fact that I was entertaining. I
Way better than
definitely
the Money in the Bank.
and I said that, and I said
Apples
this,
to oranges.
and Shane disagrees, but I think that it was for a cinematic match, for the cutting around to different spots and different segments. I think they did it better than WWE did with their Money in the Bank match.
100%.
I think they did. I think for a cinematic match, it was better than.
there.
It was
didn't
better
feel
than
like a cinematic
Boneyard.
match.
It didn't, but it did. But it felt more like a real match. Was there some hokey shit in it? Yeah. Was there some shit that I found kind of fucked up? Yeah. But all in all, were there like a lot of points where I was just like, I can't believe that like they're doing this. Like there were like the shit that they did like at least sort of made sense for who was doing it. There wasn't a point where they had a goddamn food fight. Sure, there was a point where fucking yeah, I know, but there, like the point where they sit down at the bar like and have a drink was a little bit weird for me, but at the same time, like I sort of buy it from Hangman, and I kind of buy it from Swagger there too. And then for them just to go beat the shit out of each other and do like, and from what I understand is that's from like one of the video games, isn't it? Like that whole bar scene was like a recreation from one of the video games.
Yeah, I think it was like Here Comes the Pain or something. It was like a really early SmackDown video game, I'm pretty sure.
And there was a couple of references, I guess, to that, and like I don't know, that went over my head. But I like the spot where they drag him down the bar, like Swagger dragged him down the bar and threw him off the end. I did not find the Matt Hardy drowning spot to be in very good taste, considering the timing of it all. Had it happened a week before, had it happened a month from now, I probably would feel differently, but the same week that we lose Shad Gaspard to a drowning seems like kind of poor timing to do a whole let's drown Matt Hardy gimmick thing.
But at the same time,
when we were watching it live,
that stadium has that pool. Everybody knew that pool was coming into effect.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And, like it wasn't the worst, but I thought it was a little bit in poor taste.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree about it being a little bit in poor taste, but at the same time, literally all three of us watching it live, nobody thought about that. And then, like, a little bit later,
the next day.
I was gonna say a little bit later the next day or whatever, you were like, and then we were all kind of like, But again, because it was presented so goofily with them having like, the underwater camera where Matt's like, Matt's like,
the Matt facts made my day.
Oh, Matt can hold his breath.
To the Matt facts.
Yeah, everyone noticing him. I mean, yeah, it was goofy and like like some of that shit was hokey, but at least like his what was it when he threw him in the freezer and this will help with your inflammation. It was like
or when he ties him up, take one of these and call me back in the morning.
That's good. The finish was a little weird. The one-winged angel into a crash pad. That was just a crash pad setup. Was a little weird.
That was a little weird, but I did love the sight of Aubrey Edwards having to get the ladder to count it.
Yeah, and that was fine, but it was just weird that there was just like it was obviously set up for that. There's a giant crash pad. It didn't really look like it was just a crash pad. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, like at least when WWE used to do that shit, like they would try and make it look like the stage or something. Like I don't know, it just felt like very, very strange to like finish that way.
But everything between.
I thought that power bomb or whatever to fucking Omega on the barricade on the tables.
Yeah, it was okay. First of all, those refs the refs are inner circle refs. If you go back and watch it, they're clearly holding it to help out proud and powerful members of the inner circle, and I have an issue with them for that.
But why didn't they cover him at that point?
Well, because they knew they had a Matthew Hardy roaming around, dude.
Just saying, like go for the cover on Omega when you put him through that barricade and literally looks like you fucking murdered the man. So you're telling me you can't get a 3 count on him there?
Serious question. Were there any false finishes?
I mean, there were a couple kickouts, but I don't think there was like a real false finish. No.
Not really, no. I don't think so.
I don't even remember the other pins. I literally just remember the final pin. So
maybe there wasn't. I mean, you might be right. I mean, in my wrestling head, I'm like, yeah, there had to have been a couple more pins. But...
I feel like there was some action when. Well, no, there were other pins. Absolutely, there were other pins.
Yes, there was the Jericho pin.
Because the Jericho pin after the.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but also I feel
said
like Sammy,
you're a shitty referee.
Sammy Guevara had one after he got sprayed with the sprinklers or something. But yeah,
Hangman Page also had one in the bar after he gets like urinagi'd by Hager on the pool table.
Yep. So yeah, there was a couple, but yeah, the Jericho thing was really funny. It's just be like, where I'm going, you can't be in the tent with me. You're a terrible referee. You're a shitty ref.
You shouldn't even be here to begin with. I said 2.
Yeah, I mean there was some entertaining stuff. I think the thing, and I think it was one of the things that like the only thing that Jim Cornette had positive to say about that was, and I agree with him 100% on this, and not much else about the match. But was goddamn Sammy Guevara's cardio is amazing. That motherfucker can sprint like Tom Cruise, man. For real though, I am impressed. Like I like Sammy Guevara a lot. Like I am completely sold on him as like a heel, as like he's just so good at being that so self-absorbed. Yeah, amazing. And he just his facials, like when he stops and he realizes that golf cart is behind him, and he slowly turns around and does the no and just takes off. And even when he sees Hangman Page the first time with the horse, and he has that "Are you fucking kidding me?" look on his face, he just sells it. And like I'm super into that, and I thought he did a great job.
At the end of the day, be happy that this wasn't a WWE match. Because somewhere that horse would have taken a shit and somebody would have been DDT'd into it.
Or somebody slips in it. Yeah.
100%. That would have happened.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, just kind of wrap up my opinions on the match. I mean, I thought it was good. Did I think it was a great wrestling match? No. But did I have the most fun with it? Yeah. I mean, I laughed my ass off through the entire thing. I mean, it was just a perfect scream at a television match. Like, it created a splash. Yeah, I mean, it created a splash. I mean, there were multiple moments during that would excite, non-AEW fans, would excite AEW fans. The whole Matt turning into version 1 and 2, that's making its way around. I mean, it was just good. I really like how they started in ring too, like for the most part.
It felt unnecessary to have the ring there.
Yeah, I mean, it was unnecessary in the same way as it was for Money in the Bank. So
yeah, but I mean, I just felt like they did all of like 2 seconds worth of stuff in the ring, and like they just sort of ignored it the most of the time. But I mean, yeah, it was there. I give the match 2.5 stars. 3 stars for its entertainment value. 2.5 because the commentary was so atrocious.
JR just didn't act like he wanted to be there.
Yeah, and going back to the ladder match, and we're talking about JR, I think he had one of the worst calls of his career during that ladder match where he says, ladders everywhere and not a drop to drink. I'm like, how many? What the fuck have you been drinking, JR? Let's get to that. Anyway, but back to the main event. Yeah, I thought the commentary was just, you could tell that JR hated it. You could tell that
Shivani was just trying to salvage it, be his normal, like, ha ha ha, and then Excalibur was just doing his best. But JR really brought the commentary down on that one.
Yeah.
And JR is bringing it down on what is already not the best booth.
Yeah, I mean, it was awful.
Like, JR has to pick up the slack for Excalibur, and there's a lot of slack to pick up there.
Without commentary, I would have given it a 4. With commentary, it's a 3. I mean, I feel like the commentary was so bad and distracting that it gets knocked down the literal entire point.
Absolutely.
And I really enjoyed it. I mean, you could ask these two live. I mean, I was just having fun.
Oh, yeah.
It sure was. I was kind of having fun. There were some moments that I marked out a little bit, but for the most part.
Withholding the commentary, it's a 4.5 for me. I really enjoyed it.
Nice,
I laughed
man.
my asses off. I have 2.
Oh.
Don't ask. Weird shit. But with the commentary dragged it down, but I'm able to ignore the commentary. I do on a lot of things. And I love the pomp and circumstance of wrestling, and there was a lot of it in this match. So
It was definitely. I would say that compared to the Money in the Bank, and I know you hate me comparing this, Shane, but compared to that Money in the Bank match, I would not have been embarrassed to watch this with a non-wrestling fan.
Yeah, and
because I feel like they could have enjoyed it for what it was as the entertainment, whereas there was so much inside shit in the WWE one, and there was just like it was so hokey and like got so dumb at points that like I just was embarrassed by that. So,
and I don't think it's an unfair comparison. They're very similar in that you have 2 matches with many, many competitors taking place in a place not really built for wrestling.
and utilizing as much of the space as you can.
Yeah, they're highly comparable. They're both pre-tapes. They're both edited.
And they filmed the Stadium Stampede. To their credit, they filmed that the night before. So they did that in like a 12-hour or less period of time.
Yeah,
which is impressive. Whereas I feel like the WWE one must have taken like 3 days.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all in all, just I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we kind of went over what we wanted to with the main event. All in all, I think I would give the show a 3.25 to a 3.5, which is excellent for the COVID era.
Yeah, I think if you take it into account with all the other pay-per-views they've done, I think it's in a lot of ways it's a lot weaker. But considering what they were able to do with this one, without the crowd, with kind of a ridiculous gimmick match as the main event, I got to say 3.5 stars for the pay-per-view. I definitely didn't leave upset. I had a good time. The matches that were good were really, really good. The matches that were bad were pretty short.
Yeah, and I really feel like this pay-per-view, if you weren't sold before, especially given the fact there's no audience, this pay-per-view gave me confidence just to buy the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of the things that we discussed last night while just shooting the shit was, and I think we both agreed on this. I don't know if we discussed it with you, Dozer, but that spot with Moxley and Brody Lee going through the stage felt like a defining moment for AEW. I think there's been one other one that was truly defining for AEW for me, and that was the Cody versus Dustin match on the first Double or Nothing, or All In, or whatever it was. That match was the one that really was like, all right, I'm going to give these guys a shot, because if they can do this well, then they can do something else this well. They might be able to do it even better. And then that moment with, like the moment after the match in that one where Cody surprises Dustin, is like, I want my brother, like, I want you to wrestle for us. Like, that was just a defining moment for the company.
I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it 4 stars because 4 is apparently my go-to. I enjoyed the whole pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And, I would buy again. I will probably buy the next one, which is, well, I don't know.
I'll buy the next one.
No, I'm worth going with. AEW's trying to do the big 4 a year type deal, maybe 5. They're going for a couple big ones. But given the promotion around Fyter Fest last year, it already seems like a B-tier pay-per-view.
Yeah, but I feel like that's
Also a terrible name.
Real quick, apologize to everybody.
Shayna's the world's smallest bladder.
No, I actually did not go pee. I thought I heard a clank downstairs that shouldn't have been there, so I had to go look real quick.
Was Steve Austin breaking into your house with a gun?
No, unfortunately, I did not get Brian Pillman. But yeah, I mean, having watched Fyter Fest from last year, again, I know a lot of people had issue with it. I had fun with it. As far as Double or Nothing went, I feel like it was by a long, long shot the best pay-per-view we've seen since
by crowds.
Yeah, since the quarantine era. I mean, just by a lot. That being said, that being said, something we'll definitely, absolutely have to review coming up, and I really feel like, especially with wrestlers in the crowd, NXT in Your House coming up on June 7th.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how that one is.
I'm curious if they're going to bring back the gimmick of giving away a house.
Oh, geez, I hope not.
Oh, dude.
I heard Cornette shoot on that recently, and him talking about just like how angry all the people who worked that show were, all the wrestlers were, because like some person got a house worth like way more than any of them got paid for that.
Real quick, not to belabor the end of the podcast at all, but real quick, the 3 matches announced for that show are Ciampa versus Karrion Kross with Scarlett, formerly of the Bordeaux variety, Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai, and then Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. That's a pretty solid suite of matches there.
And knowing NXT, they will not disappoint.
No.
But that is not next show. Next show, because we've already spun the wheel last week, we have Lockdown 2009. Headlined by Sting versus Mick Foley for the TNA World Championship.
Both past their prime.
Hell yeah.
Which
I'm looking
should be a bit
to
interesting. I was there. So I have a different perspective on that one.
Maybe we can find you in the crowd when we're watching.
No, I had cheap seats.
I'm glad that's over with. There was some good and there was some bad, but I thought that the pay-per-view all in all was decent for what it was.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Definitely.
And until next time, I'm Dozer. He's Isaac.
Yo.
He's Shane. And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.